Surviving Reality contains explicit content full of snark and sarcasm that may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to Surviving Reality.
I'm Corey.
And I'm Carly. And today we are recapping Season 6, Episode 2 of Welcome to Plathville, Never Say Never.
I don't like where that's going. That is not a sentiment I would like to get behind when it comes to Ethan and Olivia.
No, I think we're all ready for like a hard, no, never going to do that ever again.
No, thank you,
I'm
Daddy.
Good. Thank you, Daddy. Pass.
Yes. This was kind of a setup episode where it seems like we're bridging the gap between a few storylines. We're lining up a few things for future episodes where there's going to be a little bit more to the stories here. This one was just kind of setting things in motion, getting things in place for us.
What became clear is none of the people in this family talk to one another.
Well, why would they? It's very uncomfortable to talk about things.
Feelings.
Oh.
Life experiences.
I don't want to.
Negative, yucky things. Yucky energy, as Robin Brown would say.
It's just a lot. Don't want to burden anyone with any of these problems that I'm having. But the episode description for this one is Ethan and Olivia remain at odds over the future of their marriage. Kim ponders her next steps with Ken, and Ethan visits Cairo and reveals big news to his family. A visit to a tarot card reader leaves Olivia reeling and questioning her future.
I think it left Olivia wanting her money back.
At first, she was ready to be a big tipper when the reading was going her way, and then we took a turn, so we'll talk about it when we get there. In the meantime, let's hear that Carly episode rewrite description.
Ethan pulls a berry and refuses to sign divorce papers. Kim continues to stay off the roads and behind the wheel of recreational vehicles. Olivia embraces the occult just as the Plaths suspected.
It makes sense that she would go right to witchcraft. Immediately into witchcraft, as soon as she has departed from Ethan.
No toothpaste required, though. Remember that was the thing that Mama Plath flipped out about?
Maybe it took a while for that to settle in. It maybe rebuilt some of the
you think it's been
enamel?
Uh-huh.
And then that's just only emboldened her to venture out and start reading tarot.
The demons have made their way through her enamel and into her soul.
That's what's going on.
Before we get into the episode, thank you for all of the love and support so far for the podcast. And if you like what you're hearing, could you leave us a 5-star review? I feel uncomfortable saying that, but it really does help the podcast to grow.
Which gives us more opportunities to recap other shows like this.
There's so many other things I want to be talking about.
Oh, we got Gypsy Rose. We've been keeping up with her. Got Unexpected. Couple of things. Maybe we'll just be dropping a couple of interim things, little updates along the way to just keep in touch with the rest of those. And be sure to swing on over to our YouTube channel that we've just fired up for Surviving Pod, as well as our TikTok, where you can get all the stupid memes that I make.
And before y'all get creepy about it, they're not images of our faces on the YouTube. It's YouTube podcast, so you can listen to this over there.
Well, Google Podcast shut down. So they moved it on over to YouTube, which they used to be very upset. They did not want podcasting content on that platform at all.
Audio.
Yeah, the audio components only, because they were a video platform. Video was the emphasis. But now they're really warming up to it because they've shut down Google Podcasts and they don't have any other options over there. Good stuff.
Welcome to YouTube. And as always, you can listen to this episode as well as our other podcasts, Surviving Sister Wives, and, I don't know, over 100 episodes of bonus content on our Patreon at patreon.com/survivingpod.
Without further ado, I guess we'll jump into it here. We are at Ethan and Olivia's apartment, right where we left off at the end of the episode last week, where they are mid-conversation. Olivia's really trying to close this deal. She's trying to get a signature here. What's it going to take to get you into this divorce today?
No money down? I think we can do that.
I will definitely make concessions to make that happen.
He will not sign these divorce papers. because he can't deal with anything in the realm of reality.
He cannot wrap his mind around the conclusion, natural conclusion of this relationship. It has run its course.
And they've been living completely separate lives for 9 months now. Yet he's suddenly confronted by the realization that these papers are the thing that's going to mean their marriage is over.
Well, he opened the door and he saw Olivia standing there and remembered how pretty she was. And so now he's changing his mind.
I don't know if it was how pretty she is or if it's just he remembered her because he's not busy working on a car or going to the gym or any of the other coping mechanisms that he uses to distract himself from his problems.
And dragging it out is only making things worse. This is just proving to Olivia that this is the right decision because this is yet another inconsistency in the life of Ethan Plath because he's constantly going back and forth between, oh, we should work things out. No, I think we should end things. And he cannot make up his mind. It just changes willy-nilly based on his feelings at the moment that he's thinking about it.
I guess Ethan forgot that he is the one who spurred the end of their marriage with that list of those 3 things that she had to do, or otherwise they couldn't be married anymore. You're the one who drew the line in the sand.
And this is why Olivia's like, okay, well then let's just go ahead and do this, make it official, and we'll call it here. Because she can't wrap her mind around living 2 separate single lives and not filing divorce. You know, just like Barry and Kim have been doing for the last 2 years.
Yeah, he has quite the example to copy from.
Yeah, Ethan is taking a page right out of Mama and Papa Plath's book here.
I think that's why Olivia was like, are you good with all the assets that we have, how we've divided them up? Because I would really like to just sign this today.
But this is where Ethan gets lost in his emotions again, because he's throwing these accusations at Olivia. Oh, I can't believe how you can move on so easily. I just don't understand that. And again, Olivia is dealing with this. She is processing everything that she's experiencing and moving through it. Ethan is still acting like this just happened because he has given it no additional thought or consideration since the day she left.
Why is he acting like she just came home one day and blindsided him with the fact that she wanted to get divorced?
That's how most men view divorce. It came out of nowhere. It's a shock and surprise.
You had only been struggling from the minute you got married with various issues with your family, with each other, with your inability to process anything. And that all came to a head 9 months ago. And again, it's been almost a year that you haven't been living together. And remember, they were separated before that for a period of time, for like 4 months.
Because they got this place in Minnesota together, which was after, they were already living apart for a little while there.
It's just another way to try to blame something on her.
Well, and he's still begging her, can we just give it another few months and then see where we're at? He wants to see if she's going to change her mind again, because this is just kind of that avoidant attachment dynamic that they have on display where he has to push her away and then they have to reconcile. And that's the loop. That's the cycle. That's where they've been going. And Olivia's like, dude, I can't. I'm done.
The thing that he wants her to change her mind about, though, is being a completely different person, because he gave her that list of things that she would have to do in order to be his wife, to have his children, to raise kids together. And they were things that are so inherent to who you are as a person and your personal beliefs and values that that's what he wants her to change about herself.
I don't know why Olivia isn't bringing that up, because when he's saying, oh, can't we just make this work? I don't think so. I think you've made it clear that you had a very specific set of expectations of what your wife was going to be, and I can't provide that for you.
That's where I'm saying he keeps flipping it on her to make it like it was her fault that they're getting a divorce, because she's the one who won't concede.
So then we get a little glimpse of maybe Ethan kind of playing victim here a little bit, because he can't even talk about this anymore today. He cannot bring himself to sign this paperwork. So he leaves Olivia to pack up her things and head out again. And he's just over on the couch, sitting there looking sad. Sad Ethan.
He looks up at her with like puppy dog eyes as she leaves the room.
maybe as a manipulation tactic, maybe trying to get her to feel bad and fix this.
I think he was genuinely upset, and he can't actually feel any of his own feelings. And I think this is a moment where he couldn't avoid what he was feeling, and it was showing on his face. But I still can't get over the fact. What did you do for 9 months, Ethan? What did you do in all of that time that you've been living separate lives to try to make this work? You did nothing. And then she showed up today, and now you want to suddenly change your mind.
Did you edit the list at all and say, I reconsidered some of these things because I noticed that this was kind of ridiculous?
Well, last time he told her it's only 3 things. That's why she didn't bring it up again, because he tried to tell her it wasn't like it was that much.
It's just, the core fundamental things that make you up as a human being.
We're going to leave Ethan on the couch because Kim is busy in the woods riding a 4-wheeler.
Well, at least she's on dry land this week.
She is on every vehicle that requires like some form of different license than a motor vehicle. Have you noticed that?
I did like that. Yeah, that was actually pretty creative, pretty innovative way to work around these DUI issues that she's been faced with.
And she happens to be where else? At Ken's house, which seems to be the consensus among everyone that she doesn't actually live on the boat full time. She's there when she has the girls, and then she spends the rest of the time at Ken's house.
I do like that theory. Yeah, we had a few listeners who were posting about that in the Discord this week.
Also, I'm going to be calling them the girlses moving forward in honor of Leah from Teen Mom.
I still call them Live, Laugh, Love. So if you do hear that, that's who I'm talking about.
She's outdoorsy, or at least now she's outdoorsy, according to Ken. What was that about? That was not an element of her personality that I remember from her time with Barry.
What was weird to me, too, was that she said the reason why she's hanging out with Ken right now is because the girls are at Taekwondo. They're doing what?
You heard it right.
Yeah, I thought that was strange, though, because you're just going to do that for a couple hours? So you're just going to go...
She wants them to leave and go somewhere. She needs a break. The boat gets cramped pretty fast.
How long is the Taekwondo class?
I don't know.
4 hours?
Why, do you think they were riding 4-wheelers for 4 hours?
Maybe. What else was she riding?
The real questions.
Maybe. Well, yeah, we did see right over Ken's shoulders in his isolated interview stuff, the sacred bed, as Cody would refer to it.
And he's pretty eager for her to get this divorce finalized. That's where the rest of this scene goes. It's been over 2 years since Kim and Barry started the divorce process, and they still have not worked out all of the pesky details.
Well, we saw how that conversation went with Ethan and Olivia, so imagine just 2 Ethans trying to have a divorce conversation. It's making sense why it's taken 2 years.
I feel like Barry is trying to hold on to all of the financial assets. I'm sure they're fighting about the fact that he worked the whole time. She stayed home with the kids.
Oh, yes.
And they have all of these things that they've acquired throughout their marriage from mostly Barry's income. I ain't saying that's right, but I'm saying I think that's the story. The sad song that Barry is singing to his attorney.
She's trying to cash out on this. Well, then I think Barry should be more receptive to Ken because Ken is going to be your way out of your alimony payment.
That's true.
Ken is looking like he's ready to propose to Kim already. He hasn't said that, but why else are you asking about her divorce so much?
Kim is crafty, though. No, I don't think that's what it's about. I truly believe that if Kim was receiving alimony, she purposely would not marry Ken until it ran out, and that Ken just wants to know when she's getting divorced so that she can formally move into his home, because I think that's the excuse, is her children won't accept her living with a man while she's still married to her ex-husband.
Some of the kids. I feel like some of the other kids won't really mind. Faith, hope, and love. Live, laugh, love. Faith, grace, and mercy. They just want to live indoors. I think, can we get 4 walls on solid ground? That would be a real step up.
They're just trying to get off the boat.
Yeah, please.
You know what's crazy? I saw something about their divorce filing, and she's trying to get full custody of them. How are you going to walk into family court and say, I live on a houseboat and I would like these 3 children to live with me full time?
Judge Judy's not going to let that fly. she's going to say, show me your W-2s, and then she's going to have a big old goose egg.
We're going to rewind back to that footage of you barefoot in the restroom at the marina. That's what we're about to do.
Oh, man. Yeah. Well, she should move in with Ken to provide that stable home environment where they can be out riding four-wheelers and burning bonfire trash and rubbish from around the property, doing romantic things like that.
They might be able to do that all as a family soon because the kids have warmed up to Ken. They weren't really into him at first, probably because he was your son's flight instructor.
She conveniently left that piece of information out. I think that might be why Isaac thought this was weird, was because you, Kim, told Isaac that he introduced her to Ken, which it's just, let's not put that evil on Isaac in this situation, please.
No kid wants to know that they were the connector point for you to meet your first boyfriend after ending the marriage to their parent.
I don't want to be the rebound origination source for any of this. Please keep me out of it. But Kim's already looking forward to future awkwardness at family gatherings. Those are the types of social situations that she can feed off of. And so she's just salivating at the opportunity to have something horrible like that happen.
She cannot wait for Barry to have a girlfriend. And it's really not because he will then accept Ken. It's so that she can put down his girlfriend and treat her like she treated Olivia.
Well, that, and she can ignore Barry's girlfriend the way that Barry ignores Ken.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm trying to picture, what do you think Barry's type is when he starts dating again? Is he going to find one of, who's the Taekwondo instructor that the girls are at class with?
I don't know. I could see Barry with an older woman, like older than himself.
Oh, God. Like
a rich widow.
Older than himself. That's, we're getting into a dangerous territory there.
I'm telling you, just wait. That or he's going the other direction. He's finding a 40-year-old.
40 is the other direction?
Barry is like almost 60 years old.
Yeah, I know. But I think the other direction would be like one of Mariah's friends.
Oh, that's gross.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going that young.
I don't think so
He can't
either.
attract someone that young.
That's true.
He really does have a creepy energy about him.
Very much so. Not really defined, but also palpable. Well, speaking of dating, I suppose, we've got Olivia and her sister Lydia out in Arizona.
Apparently, Olivia has moved to LA, but she doesn't really live there that much because she travels a lot for work. So she's now closer to her sister, Lydia Grace, who I guess we're going to have to call Lydia Grace so that nobody thinks we're talking about Lydia Plath.
I think once we start talking about the context of what's going on, it's going to be really hard to mix up these two Lydias.
And surprise, surprise, Lydia Grace has broken up with her boyfriend who we met last season.
I wonder what the grounds and the terms of that breakup were.
I'm going to have to say, I think the butt plug for Christmas may have had something to do with it.
That was a cherry on top. That's for sure. So they're both single now, out of long-term relationships and moving west. I think Olivia's in the process of moving to LA. So maybe, is she working her way out there? She's
who
stopping
knows?
off in Arizona. She's all over the place all the time anyway. She's traveling a bunch. Maybe that's why Micah moved out of LA, though. He knew that Olivia was on her way. And so he's like, whoa, hey, this town ain't big enough for the two of us.
He couldn't live there anymore.
Yeah, I got to get out of here.
She's bringing all this negative energy with her.
Other side of the country,
So
just to be safe.
He just found someone who looked just like her.
Yes, that's usually how that goes.
A lot of things are unclear about Olivia's situation because she's also calling herself divorced, even though she isn't officially divorced.
But she is digging single life. Not as much as Lydia is. Well, I think single life is digging Lydia more than, or, however you want to set that up. But Olivia's taken this time to kind of give Lydia an update here on her Minnesota trip. Didn't go so great trying to get that paperwork from Ethan on the divorce. He's very clearly not processing any of this stuff. So Olivia knows what's going on because, come on, she knows the drill. She's got the read on this kid.
She lives with him for many years.
She knows what's going on in this process here. So now she's trying to balance out having care and compassion for where Ethan's at, not trying to push this along too aggressively, but also she's getting a little frustrated and she wants to wrap this up sooner rather than later.
I don't blame her because when you're on a reality TV show, and she already has a lot of people who don't like her, who are paying attention to what she's doing, you can't really be out and publicly dating when you haven't actually gotten a divorce yet without people giving you some shit for it. When behind the scenes, they don't realize that it's because Ethan refuses to actually go through with it. So she's not quite as active on the dating scene as Lydia Grace is.
But also no regrets on where she's at right now with the relationship with Ethan. This was actually pretty much overdue at this point. She knew that we were getting to this conclusion. I think the telling part for me was seeing Olivia talking about how peaceful her life is now that she's distanced from the chaotic dysfunction of the Plath family. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of perspective, a little bit of separation there, and then you really see it very clearly.
I'm very excited to see Lydia take her dating on the next episode.
You think she's going to bring that extra large box of condoms with her, though, when they go dating?
I hope so. Make sure you bring protection. Lydia seems to be very popular, so I don't think you'll have any trouble being her wingman.
Lydia, she's cool with keeping it casual, and she has a very different prayer closet than Lydia Plath. Let's just put it that way.
Someone who doesn't have their life figured out at all at this point is Mariah. Why is she driving 45 minutes from Cairo to Tallahassee and then back again to work as a server and a bartender?
She probably makes more money there than she would anywhere in Cairo.
Well, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think that's the easy answer, because then that's what she was talking about. She's learning now as an adult, the more money that you have, the more freedom that you're able to have too. So she's just working a lot, trying to make money so she can record her music and really get that music career off the ground.
Okay, someone needs to tell her. Someone tell her the truth about the music.
She's no Chapel Roan.
Baby girl, we need to stop spending money on the music because it's not a worthwhile investment for the future.
So right now she's serving and bartending and having fun with that. More so the bartending, not as much the serving.
Did you see? Was that soup? What was that she poured into that bowl? I'm sorry, not into it. All over the sides of it and onto the plate.
It was gumbo, I believe, was the order that was up. But wipe the plate, you donkey.
That was going to piss off Gordon Ramsay.
For real.
I would love to watch her on a show with Gordon Ramsay get screamed at.
Oh, she wouldn't know what to do with that honesty. That would be scary.
She would be so nervous. It would be very entertaining. Someone should get that show made.
You know what they need to stop doing immediately, though, is making mint chocolate martinis.
Mint chocolate chip martinis.
Please don't do that anymore.
That sounded really gross.
I already thought espresso martinis sounded disgusting, and I have no interest in them, probably because I'm not high class, high society like everybody on Below Deck who orders them, obviously. But mint chocolate chip martini, no. I don't think we need to do that.
It sounds too sweet. It sounds like that it's going to taste like that fake mint.
A lot of that. And then there's chocolate syrup like in the glass. No, that's not working for me.
Just admit you don't like alcohol if you're going to drink that.
There's other ways that you can just let a pint of Ben & Jerry's mint chocolate chip melt and then just drink that. Just do that.
She's really not a fan of working, though, to be honest. She'd rather just stay at home with her dog, which I think a lot of us can understand.
No judgment there.
But then she whips out the words of Kim Kardashian about how you just got to get your fucking ass up and work.
Yeah, she loves her job because it forces her to be social by pretending to be nice to people because she works in the service industry. And she seems to be following the Ethan Plath recovery process, which is work.
No thinky, more worky.
Yes, a lot of that. Work. Pretty much.
Let's leave Mariah there.
Well, we're going to go back to Cairo for, what is it, family fun night? Do you want to call it that? What are we calling this?
I think this is Barry's submission to the family court. He's got a real Norman Rockwell painting going on here with all the kids home. We've got Micah. He's come up from, I guess, where is he? South Florida now. Mariah's is here. She's not bartending tonight. Lydia has taken a break from all of the great work she's doing in the name of the Lord to be here. And Isaac has stopped flying a plane for a few minutes.
And so now Ethan is going to be rounding out the group tonight for a visit. And he's doing what you'd expect. He's not just here out of the good and kindness of his heart and that he loves to be around these people. He's running away from his divorce. Things got a little too real. The apartment feels like there's a lot of Olivia energy in there right now, and he needs to get out of that state.
I thought this was weird because last time we saw them, hadn't Ethan and Mariah still not really worked out their problems?
Yes, not at all. They were very much in disagreement as far as what took place, who was responsible for what. Mariah was casting a whole lot of blame onto Olivia, and that's the reason why she's not close with Ethan anymore. Ethan was asking Mariah to apologize. She wouldn't do it.
It just seems like something else is going on here. Although in the Plath family, they've probably just decided that that conversation was the first and last one they were ever going to have about it, and they've moved on from there. But I was surprised that she didn't have a whole meltdown about how uncomfortable it was going to be for her to come face to face with him again.
So either they've talked about it off camera, which I highly doubt that's the case. But yeah, they've probably just glossed over it and just moved right along and pretended like everything's fine, because that's basically what's going on too. Ethan is entering into the house. Everyone's excited to see him. It's hugs all around. They're glad that he's here. But then Ethan's even telling the producers when he gets there, I don't want to burden them with all of my divorce woes that I'm dealing with right now. It's too much for Ethan to handle. Why is he going to distribute that information to the rest of these emotionally unprepared people?
That was a big old red flag, wasn't it?
That was danger zone. Yeah, that was not good.
When you feel like you can't burden your family members with things going on in your life, that's a sign that you may come from a toxic family dynamic.
Bro, the reason why you don't want to bring it up is because these people aren't safe. You have to be their expectation of Ethan. They have invited you here so that you can be the funny, happy, smiley Ethan that makes them laugh. You cannot be emotional, depressed, sad, and lonely Ethan who is divorcing Olivia at the current time.
Barry says as much because he's very excited that they have their family clown home to make them laugh.
In my notes, I wrote Plath brings it up. That is code for Barry Plath, by the way. Because he can see, he's excited that happy Ethan is here to make the laughs and the giggles, but the eyes really tell the story for Barry.
Well, he looks dead in the eyes.
He sees
Ethan does.
He's got some pain behind those eyes. P.O.P.
He really wasn't planning on telling him, but basically 15 minutes from walking in the front door, he sits down and he tells everyone who's there, well, Olivia and I are getting a divorce.
And the room falls silent. There is no reaction from anyone. It's very solemn. Like there's a level of shock that's there, and I don't know why.
No.
Where that's coming from.
From all of these people who individually played a part in destroying his marriage, they're suddenly surprised. Except for Lydia. Lydia was fighting back a shit grin. You know that she was praying in that prayer closet for the last 9 months that this would happen, and she cannot believe that God has answered her prayers.
Bring Ethan home, exorcise the demon from this family, but keep her hot brother around for me, please. I think... So she's got the first half of that prayer answered. Check it off the list. Done. And now she's just waiting for the other half.
And straight out the gate, he's thrown Olivia under the bus, saying that he asked for another go and she said no. So I guess we're just in this place where we're going to have to get divorced now.
This one, Barry lets us know, well, he wasn't really surprised, even though he was kind of acting surprised. But he just figured it was kind of a when, not if, sort of scenario here, just a matter of time before this was going to happen.
Well, all the hard work the Plaths put in finally paid off.
But we're here for you, Ethan. We are your support network if you need it. Okay, cool. But like, just telling me that, hey, we'll support you, that doesn't really support me. So what does that mean?
I want to point out not one person got up and gave him a hug. Nobody asked him how he was doing. Nobody expressed any actual concern for him or for how Olivia is doing. Everyone just sat in silence. And that's their form of support, I guess. And now they'll just pretend that it didn't happen.
Well, Micah's offering some support here too. He's chiming in saying, well, I'll be there in a heartbeat, even all the way up to Minnesota if you need it. And if my faceless Florida gal gives me permission to go, then I'll be there. Because all these temporary solutions, there's a lot of different things that are getting thrown around here. Ethan realized that at the end of the day, Olivia's gone and he's got his family here. So I think he realizes through the rest of the night that maybe it's not the best thing to have this family be your support system. I don't think he's going to get as much out of this as he was getting with the relationship with Olivia, as far as processing his emotions and learning and growing and changing his mindset.
I don't know. I think Barry is very excited about the opportunity to bond with Ethan over their shared divorces from evil women.
Well, the denial is very real because Ethan is not looking to address any of this stuff, but Barry's right there to say, hey, you don't have to address anything. If you don't feel ready, push that shit off.
Don't rush.
Give it a couple years, just let it simmer on the back burner. Don't really think about it and just drag it out.
Keep her from moving forward with her life until you're done torturing her.
When you get bored or when you have no other options available to you, then let it go.
I also don't understand why Barry is acting as though he is the expert on divorce when he hasn't actually fully completed a divorce yet.
He's basically in the same stage that Ethan is in right now. They are on the same level, in the same progress. But this is where Ethan and Barry are talking a little bit too much about divorce. It's some yucky energy in the room. So the rest of the kiddos are like, look, we're going to go finish game night. We're going to go play games instead. You guys can
We're not really interested in your divorce, Ethan.
You guys can carry on with the rest of this stuff, but you're really bumming us out. So we're going to go in the other room. And so now Ethan and Barry are left to their own devices to try to work on their respective divorces and offer each other as much guidance as support that they're able to muster here.
Which it seems like just consists of telling the other person that it wasn't their fault. You did as much as you possibly could. I know that that's true.
And also, depression, don't be depressed.
It's a visitor.
Yeah, don't let it stick around. Don't beat yourself up. You did so much. You tried so hard. Pat yourself on the back more than anything. And Ethan starts to ask real questions, though. If I did do so much, because Ethan feels comforted in this. Hearing his dad say these things to him, I guess that was something that Ethan needed to hear. But then Ethan starts asking follow-up questions. Well, then why doesn't Olivia appreciate all the things that I did? And Barry cannot help himself. And he's like, well, I guess it's just because it's all about her,
He lets out the creepiest, weirdest, most disturbing laugh at that part. Because that struck him to his core. Because it's the same with Kim. Kim doesn't see all the things that he did for her over the years.
He provided a stable shell environment for her. But then this is where Ethan realizes he's still young. He's only 25. He's not like his old dad who's getting divorced here. Lost cause.
Probably just going to be lonely for the rest of his life.
End of the road for that guy. I mean, look at him. Not too good.
What's it going to be like to have to go out there and date, to meet someone and have to get to know them, someone completely new?
And that's when Barry's like, whoa. It's probably better not to rebound, like your whore mother. So just don't do that. I wouldn't be rushing into getting to know anybody else. That's going to be really overwhelming. You should probably just stay within the family. Probably stay in the house a little bit longer.
Until they can find a new candidate for him to marry at another church gathering.
Right here in Cairo.
Also, speaking of Kim, you know that Hope, Grace, and Faith are with her this weekend, right? No, probably not, because you don't speak to your mother. But anyway, they're not here because they're with her. So are you thinking of maybe swinging by there? Because if you are, I'd like you to take some photographs, maybe film a few things. Report back.
Yeah, have you seen the houseboat yet? Have you gotten to experience that?
I am still not convinced. I know our original theory was that Kim and Barry weren't actually getting divorced, that they were making this up for the show, and that they would ultimately reunite. I am still not convinced that these two aren't in cahoots in trying to get these kids back into their sphere of influence, because I thought it was a very strange thing for Barry to ask him. Why does he care?
Really weird that he would be pushing that relationship.
It looks like we'll find out more in the next few weeks because Kimmy and Ethan are going to reunite.
And that's not the only reunion that's in Ethan's future, I guess, because we go back to Arizona for a tarot card reading with Olivia and Lydia. And we're met by a very Long Island medium type here.
Tanya. What did she say? She said,
nice to meet yous.
Nice to meet yous.
Hey. You fucking all right.
That was it, though. It was gone from there.
G?
That was the first and only thing she said.
I got some peppers and onions. I put out some gabagool. I got gravy and meatball on the stove. We'll do the reading.
And we do. We have the strangest tarot reading I've ever seen. There were a lot of cards.
There's different ways to do it. Yeah.
I'm just saying, I've never seen it done this way. And then
it
her
wasn't
cards,
a poll, it was a reading.
I feel like they were bent in a way that made her seem more like she had more authority because like she uses them a lot. That was very clear. They're not flat cards.
Correct. Yeah. This is a deck that is learned and it has been used multiple times. There's a connection here. But we find out that Olivia is a water soul.
She's more at ease when she's around water, so it does not seem like Cairo was the place to be.
She's living near an ocean. Yep, she goes to the ocean very regularly, so that all tracks. There's also an angel that's protecting and guiding her.
This was sad, and this was something that happened in between seasons. One of her brothers passed away unexpectedly in an accident, and that is who the tarot reader is saying she sees around her.
And that kind of pulled up a lot of emotions for Olivia and Lydia was when they went back home for that funeral. A lot of people who are still very religious in their family were all easily able to cope with this unexpected loss of her brother, being that, oh, well, he's in heaven. And that kind of left Olivia and Lydia with more questions and searching. And so it seems like they're just trying to not rely on religion as that crutch to just suppress things and pave over things and continue on without questioning. They're trying to explore some of these questions, which is why they're exploring these options here.
So far, the reading's pretty accurate. Then she brings up the fact that there seems like there's a lot of abandonment in Olivia's life. And what she's seeing is that she needs to move on from it, that's in the past. And she's like, yep.
Well, you got her there.
Definitely, that's what happened to me. And I see that you're going to be married once, just one time. There's 2 children. And now Olivia's a little confused.
Olivia goes, are you only once? Are you sure? It was one time? Uh-oh.
Like, not one happened and that one's done. And now you see another one. There's just one.
Like another one in the future? Like from here on forward?
And she's definitely talking about Ethan because she is seeing a man who needs to grow. He needs some time. That what she's envisioning is that they're going to be spending some time apart from one another. They're probably going to go off and have separate relationships with other people, but those are ultimately going to fail and they're going to end up reuniting again.
Look, to be fair, just saying that, hey, there's a dude in here. I see a dude in here that needs some time to grow. That doesn't really narrow it down. I'm just going to say, throwing that out there for consideration. I mean, I get all the other stuff too that they're trying to say, but I think this is the point where Olivia was like, oh, I'm going to be changing this review at the end of no more tip for this lady.
Maybe don't have someone read your future if you're not open to all the things that they may possibly say.
Yeah, Olivia did not want to hear this one. She does not see this happening either. She does not want to even explore what those options would look like because now she is kind of questioning it, talking to the producers. And she's like, well, I mean, I guess, yeah, you can never say never, but let's just let's not go down those routes for now. I don't really want to explore that.
This is like a tale as old as time. This is how women used to get burnt as witches because people would be interested And then they didn't like what they heard. And now you're a witch.
Yeah, it was too much, too fast. And I have to think about too many things now. And I don't like the things that you're making me think about right now. So I'd like that to stop.
I don't
please.
like you anymore.
Yeah, this is no good now.
How accurate are you, by the way? Are you sometimes wrong? Like, if you had to guess, like, what's the percentage? 60, 40, 20, 80?
Can a reading still be right even if the person you're reading doesn't believe? Because I think that's Olivia saying, I don't really believe in this, but like you kind of scared me with a lot of the accuracy on the other things.
You know what? I started out today believing in tarot. And then partway through, I kind of changed my mind. And now I don't think it's real anymore.
Well, no, I think it was, I came in skeptically. Then I started believing you, and then I heard something I didn't like, and now I'm kind of back to the, well, maybe this was wrong just because she couldn't get an accurate read on me because I was skeptical from the start.
That must have been it. That must have been it. And this has disturbed her and Lydia Grace so much that when they get up, they have broken out into a cold sweat. They have destroyed the pillows that are in the back of the chairs. They're going to need to spray those things down. We're going to need some Lysol up in here. Dry them out.
Yeah, she's like, "Oh, Maron, you sweat through the you sweat through the pillows." But I think sometimes maybe as part of the reading, maybe you hear something to get you thinking about it, because this is something that Olivia is still facing currently. Are you going to get back with Ethan right now? No, we're moving forward with the divorce. So it kind of puts you in a way to think, well, the path that you're currently going on, because you are kind of feeling bad for Ethan about how he's in this place, he hasn't figured this stuff out, and you're trying to give him time to process that, and you're pitying him. Are you going to go back to him and be receptive in that way, where you're going to continue this relationship? And just the thought of that was so repulsive, where it's like, no, yeah, I don't want that at all. So it's like, well, there's your answer right there. I think you know what you're doing moving forward now.
So then maybe the reading was successful after all.
I hope that was the message. You have time to change the future. That's the thing. The future's always in motion. But be careful with those two kids. Because, hey, if it's a reunion, if you're reuniting with Ethan in a few years, you better be careful.
We better borrow some of those condoms from Lydia Grace.
Yeah, you better grab a handful of those just to be safe.
Next episode, the Plath men bond over their muscles at the gym. Ugh. Olivia takes a huge leap and steps into the single scene with her sister. And Ethan decides it's time to break the ice and visit his mom.
Captain Kimmy, all aboard. And we get some Lydia slow jams, too. Get ready for that.
Oh, everybody looks so depressed in that room. I can't wait.
Oh, yeah. It's happening.
Thank you for listening. If you want to support us, the best way to do that is by subscribing to the podcast and leaving a review on Apple Podcast or Spotify.
Be sure to chat with us about the episode on our Discord channel by joining our Patreon, patreon.com/survivingpod.
Stay tuned, share with friends. See you next time.